United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for peace in Gaza and Lebanon. Speaking at the BRICS summit in Russia's Kazan on Thursday, the UN chief has called for an immediate ceasefire and the release of hostages.
We need peace in Gaza with an immediate ceasefire, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, the effective delivery of humanitarian aid without obstacles, and we need to make irreversible progress to end the occupation and establish the two-state solution as it was recently reaffirmed once again by a UN General Assembly resolution. We need peace in Lebanon with an immediate cessation of hostilities, moving to the full implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701.
All right, our correspondent Amit Mukherjee is joining us. Amit, good morning. Now, we see that both Israel and Hamas have shown readiness for talks ahead. Also, Antony Blinken is in the region for, facilitating the ceasefire negotiations, and also in Qatar, there is action taking place. Put all this together, get us the latest on the negotiations. What is the status of the negotiations?
Well, pretty well. Things still continue to be on the edge as far as Middle East is concerned, the West Asia is concerned, but definitely there has been an increased sort of an effort in terms of, reaching a ceasefire right now, especially with the US elections being just about 2 weeks around the corner. US is also pressing for a ceasefire at the earliest. In fact, it has been mobilizing all the people all those who have been a part of this conflict. In fact, whether it's Israel, whether it's Hamas, whether it's Hezbollah as well as Iran, it has been kind of, putting in a lot of effort right now. Of course, State Secretary Antony Blinken is stationed out there in West Asia at this moment, and he's also mobilizing a lot of people out there. And but despite the fact that Israel has been threatening for a strike against Iran, the posturing of Iran at this point in time is also kind of indicative of the fact that it is also looking at a ceasefire right now, because publicly it has maintained that it does not want war at this point in time, but at the same time it's also kind of prepared a multi-pronged strategy to deal with the situation and eventuality in case Israel really launches an attack on it. But at the same time, as per reports, I mean, Iran is very, very clear that in case of a symbolic attack by Israel, it will not go into too much of a response or a retaliation. However, if its oil installations and nuclear installations are kind of attacked, then there would be a possible, sort of a severe retaliation by Iran. But as of now, as things stand, the focus right now is on ceasefire. All the parties are now looking at the release of the hostages, the Israeli hostages who were taken away, who were abducted, a year back on 7th of October, when the Hamas squads had launched an attack. It had invaded the Israeli territory and taken away all those hostages. So right now the focus is on de-escalation of the military action of Israel in Hezbollah region, in various, regions of Lebanon where Hezbollah is very, very active. Also, a de-escalation as far as actions of Israel is concerned in northern Gaza. So overall, there is a lot of effort right now to reach a peace agreement and a settlement right now, a ceasefire in the West Asian region right now.
All right, Amit. Now, talking of how is Israel positioned with the conflict with the Gaza conflict on one side, and also its retaliation against the Hezbollah strikes. Added to that, also its claim of preparing to attack Iran. Put all this together, how is Israel positioned? Added to this, there is the ceasefire talks are still, a ceasefire still is elusive. Put all this together, how is Israel positioned?
See, Preeti, the thing, all these conflicts has been, on for almost a year now. And in fact, the Israeli administration had made it very, very clear that there would be no half-baked measures at this point in time, which is why if you see the way the structure in which it has been attacking the proxies of Iran, so to say, whether it's if it's the Hamas or the Hezbollah, it's a very, very calculated and a calibrated approach. Now, Israel had identified all the financial backbones which were actually financing these kind of terror activities, which is why not only it went against the individuals of Hezbollah or Hamas, but as far as Hezbollah is concerned, it has also been targeting its financial backbone. It had kind of, mounted a calibrated attack on the financial network of Hezbollah, and it was in a very, very organized way, kind of targeting those financial institutions. Apart from the attacks on the weapon depots, the launch pads from where missiles were being launched against Israel. So Israel was very, very clear that this war should stop once and for all, and it wanted to be kind of rest assured for the next few years without seeing any sort of, so which is why it is trying to cripple all these organizations which had been working against it right at the base. And as far as Iran is concerned, there is a lot of anticipation that if you look at what happened 2 weeks back, there were a barrage of about 200 missiles, ballistic missiles that were actually, targeted for Israel by Iran. And Israel so far has not directly responded to that. So, which is why, and in fact, 2 days back, Yoav Gallant, who is the military chief of Israel, he had made a statement that the world will watch the might of Israel when it strikes Iran. So, on one hand, while there is still a lot of anticipation as far as Israel's attack on Iran is concerned, but at the same time, Iran is also making sure that it acts responsibly, and publicly it has been saying that it doesn't want war. But at the same time, it will not back out from any kind of a retaliation if major installations like oil and nuclear facilities are attacked in its territory. And the nature and the extent of the attack, the retaliation of Iran would again depend on what exactly Israel does. If it's a symbolic attack.
Right. So we'll have to see how the days ahead pan out. All right, Amit.
And dial it down.
Yeah. All right. We leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. And India's ambassador to Lebanon, Noor Rehman Sheikh, on Thursday handed over the first tranche of humanitarian assistance sent by India to Lebanon. On October 18th, India had dispatched the first tranche of 11 tons of medical supplies to Lebanon as part of the humanitarian effort to support the nation amid rising tensions and the ongoing conflict in southern Lebanon.